New comic book day is fast approaching. It's time to take a look at all the books coming out so I can tell you what's on my pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list, my weekly video where I tell you what books that are coming out that I am actually buying, what's on the pull list, what's on the maybe list, and what's on the chopping block, things that I just can't keep buying anymore. Now, I always like to start these lists off with the book that I am most excited about, and I feel like you know what it is, or maybe you don't. It's okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. From Dynamite Entertainment, this is Disney Villains Scar, issue number 1. Now, this represents a shining new era. No, I'm joking. But no, this is a Disney Villains Scar book. It is a prequel to The Lion King of sorts. It's given us like some insight into what made Scar so villainous, how he felt so betrayed when he found out that, you know, Simba was born. And we kind of get some insider information into like the schemes, the machinations, like just it's villains being villains. And this is written by Chuck Brown. I don't remember who's doing art. I guess I could look it up. Hold on. All right, so it's written by Chuck Brown with art by Trevor Fraley. This is going to be a dope book. Dynamite or Disney really like puts a super like big microscope on all of their licensed work. So you can almost always expect, no matter who's writing or drawing a Disney book, that it's going to be up to par. But the fact that Chuck Brown is writing it, which makes me take notice. You may know Chuck Brown from Bitterroot or his series on Black Manta or Aquaman. He's been doing a lot here lately. He's even got a series at Image called Flawed, which is actually really good. Chuck Brown is dope. He's the truth. So getting to see him write a villain, a darker character, even although it is a Disney villain, I'm excited about it. He's already proven that he can do it. So Disney Villain Scar number 1, definitely going to be at the top of my reading pile. Now, the book I'm getting is not the cover A. I'm actually going to get the cover D. The cover D by Jung Yun Yoon. Because that's the one that's got Scar in, you know, the little cave doing the Be Prepared song. Like, come on. Anyway, it's got a cover price of $3.99, and that's the cover I'm grabbing. Now, since we started off the list with an indie book, which does not happen often, let's keep going down the list with the indie books, the smaller publishers, starting with, from Image Comics, King Spawn, issue number 21. Now, look, I'm not reading King Spawn. I dropped King Spawn after issue 5 or 6. The reason I'm grabbing this is the same reason I'm grabbing all the Spawn's Universe titles this month. Mark Brooks is doing a connecting cover variant set. And as a matter of fact, this is the first in that 4-issue cover set for the month of April. I'm very excited about it, but every week you're going to see another piece of this big mural in the form of a single issue comic book. So King Spawn 21 with the Mark Brooks connecting variant cover. It's not even a variant. It's the cover A. And that's the one I'm getting. Cover price on that is $2.99. Now, the last indie book on the pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue number 60. Yes, 60 issues of The Walking Dead in color. Keep stacking them up for my custom bind project that at this rate will be done in another 3 years. But hey, I'll have all the books. Anyway, Walking Dead Deluxe in color, cardstock covers. This cover A is by David Finch, and that's the one I'm grabbing with a cover price of $3.99. Now, that's going to do it for the indie books on the pull list. Those are going to cost me $11 this week, which isn't bad. But yeah, not bad at all. Only 3 books, $11. That's cool. Now let's move on to Marvel Comics, where I can't really say the same, but the first book on the list is The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 23. So, you know, we've spent the better part of a year on Amazing Spider-Man, and we've been teased forever. Like, okay, something happened with Peter and Mary Jane. Why did something happen? If I read the ending of issue 22 correctly, it would appear that maybe Spider-Man was transported into a different dimension during this time period. And so maybe we've been watching like Peter from a different dimension, and all this has been like interaction with some other multiverse version of these people. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe I just didn't read it right. But it seemed to be that he like traveled to another dimension. And maybe that's why Mary Jane's all of a sudden like married and whatnot. But I don't know. I'll probably have to go back and read it again. I might have missed a detail or something. But either way, it's a little bit more interesting than it has been. I can't say it's anything like groundbreaking or amazing, something that's got me like, oh, I gotta see what happens next. I kind of just am reluctantly following this to its conclusion so I can decide if I want to take the next step with the next story arc after issue 25. But that's where we are. Amazing Spider-Man issue 23 has got a cover price of $3.99. I'm going to grab the cover A. And next up, another book that I'm kind of just following until the end. This is the Immoral XMen issue number 3, part of the Sins of Sinister event. We are now in year 1000 of just what the timeline looks like when Sinister's in control. Sinister basically implanted his DNA, his genetic code into like basically every mutant that's ever been resurrected. And then of course they decided to have minds of their own. The plan didn't go anywhere near the way Sinister wanted it to. And he's got to find his Moira clone so he can reset everything. And, we're still waiting for that to happen. 1,000 years in. It's had its ups and downs, or it's had its peaks. I feel like there's the exciting points about each issue, but all in all, I'm just ready for this to be over. And thankfully, we're another step closer with this week's Immoral XMen issue number 3. We'll talk about, what happened 1,000 years into Sinister's future. Cover price on this is $4.99. I'm going to grab cover A. Now, the next book on the pull list is one that I'm just trying out as a new number 1 from David F. Walker. This is Planet of the Apes issue number 1. This is actually the first issue that's going to be written on like Marvel's new 20th Century Studios imprint. So that's interesting. Although, didn't they have like Alien and Predator, but those were not on that imprint somehow? Anyway, maybe future volumes will be. But Planet of the Apes, we've all seen the Planet of the Apes movies. I don't know what the premise of this book is. Is it a retelling? Is it a prequel? Is it a whole new jumping on point? I don't know. I'm really curious about this because I've never seen David Walker write anything besides like, Black superheroes. Not to say that he hasn't written other stuff. I just haven't personally read it, and so that's why I'm excited to get into this to test out the waters. Planet of the Apes issue number 1's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the Marvel pull list is one that I'm actually genuinely excited for. This is Wolverine issue number 32. Benjamin Percy's been doing this thing with Wolverine and X-Force for the last 3-4 months now. This whole thing with Beast being like just separatist and just kind of going crazy, like Beast being the main villain of the arc, is super interesting. And having Wolverine as a foil to Beast, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot. I wish all of Krakoa felt like this. Like, I wish it all felt exciting. I wish it all felt like it was going somewhere. I wish it all felt like there were seeds that were planted, 2 years ago that we're still learning more about. Instead, it feels disjointed, and it feels like the Wolverine and X-Force titles are just being great over here, and everything else is just kind of existing. And I don't know where the end game is going to be. But hopefully, it's all leading to the Fall of X stuff later on this summer or fall. So I don't know. I guess my point is I'm kind of over the Krakoa era. And that sucks. That's what got me in the comics. But Wolverine is great. Issue 32 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm going to grab cover A. And that's going to do it for the Marvel books on my list. If I stick to the list, those will cost me $18 this week. Again, not a bad total. Now, we're going to move over to DC Comics, the Distinguished Competition, and I'm going to tell you the first book that's made it to the chopping block this week or this month, because every week this month I got to do some serious cutting to stay under my new budget. Now, this week I have decided not to grab The Adventures of Superman, John Kent, number 2. Adventures of Superman, John Kent. It's an interesting enough premise. John Kent basically is called on by Val-Zod because Ultraman is running around hopping multiverses trying to kill the Clark Kent in every Earth, basically. And, there's a history there because Ultraman's the one who basically tortured John Kent for all those years in a storyline that I didn't read during the Bendis era. And it's going to be a crossover with the Injustice world. And so there's connection there with Tom Taylor writing Injustice and all that. It's not that any of this is bad. It's just that I don't care enough, right? Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I gotta see what happens next. And the fact that I am subscribed to DC Universe Ultra and I'm going to be able to read this issue in 30 days, no matter what, I'm like, you know what? I'll just wait. If it's good digitally, I might pick up the hardcover later on, but I don't need to read it month to month. And that's how I feel about it. Maybe things will change. Maybe somebody will be like, oh, it's really, really exciting. And I'll jump back in, but we'll see. For now, I'm going to save $3.99 by not putting The Adventures of John Kent in my box this week. Now, next, the book that I'm actually going to buy from Chip Zdarsky is Batman issue number 134. Batman 134. Bruce had been basically transported to another dimension as well. Shout out to you, Spider-Man. But anyway, at the end of the last story arc with Failsafe, and we've been seeing him kind of make his way through this pseudo Gotham. I mean, it's Gotham. It's just Gotham in a different multiverse. He's kind of working his way up the criminal ladder, figuring out, okay, who are the underlords? Who's the overlord? Who's the top of the food chain? And we're gearing up for this showdown between Batman and the Red Mask. And it's interesting enough. It's not as exciting to me as the first arc was, but it's earned my attention overall. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of ready to get to the next story arc, but I'm curious to see how this one ends. I just really hope that Jorge Jimenez comes back soon because I really miss his artwork. There's just something about the current Mike Hawthorne art that just feels really static. Like even when people are moving, they look static. I mean, obviously it's a 2D image, but still, there's just something about it that's just missing a certain dynamism. But anyway, Batman 134, it's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm going to grab the cover A. And that leads us to the last book on my DC Comics pull list. And that is from Milestone Media, Icon versus Hardware, issue number 2. Icon vs. Hardware is written by Reggie Hudlin and Leon Chills with art by Dennis Cowan and Yasmin Flores Montanez. Now, this book, issue 1, was pretty good. I was kind of like, wait, where's the action? I felt like we didn't really get to the Icon versus Hardware confrontation until like the final page. And so I'm curious to see how it goes or how it's handled here. This has all the makings of like one of those situations where the two heroes kind of come together. They feel like, oh, it's a mistake. We shouldn't be fighting each other. Let's work together. I don't know how they're going to get to that point. And I don't know if they're going to kind of pull that card early in the series or not. But either way, I'm excited. Curtis, I almost said one of my homies' names. Curtis Metcalf is, he found a time machine. He's trying to use it to right his wrongs, to undo the Big Bang in Dakota, which he basically had been framed for. And he finds out that things aren't going the way he expected them to go. And that's what's going to run him afoul of Icon, because no matter where he shows up in the timeline, Icon is there. So I'm curious to see exactly how it plays out. Hopefully it comes together a bit more and we establish what sort of the cadence for the series is going to be. I'm enjoying it though. I'm enjoying it. And I love, Yasmin Flores's art on, on Rocket. And she's like off in boarding school. I like the disparate storylines. I'm just curious to see how they come together. So Icon vs. Hardware issue 2 has got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A and I'm grabbing cover B. And there is a 1 in 25 variant featuring Icon and Hardware, but you also got a bunch of different figures throughout like the history of the United States. Stokely Carmichael's up there, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Shaka Zulu. And so just kind of really playing up the fact that Hardware found a time machine. I really like that cover. I believe it's by Jamal Igle. And I'm hoping that the shop has it for me. So we'll see how it goes. Icon v Hardware number 2. Got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing all the covers. And that's it for the DC books on the list. So just the cover A's that I'm actually grabbing will cost me $10. And so my actual comic budgeted total for the week will be $39. Of course, we know those variants are going to cost me extra, but Thankfully, that's coming from money that I saved over the last few weeks. I'm hoping that 1 in 25 for Icon doesn't cost more than $25 though, because if it does, that kind of just blows everything. But anyway, what's on your pull list this week? What are you excited about? What are you most excited to read? And how are you feeling about the books on your list? Is there something you're going to drop soon, like I'm doing with Adventures of Superman, John Kent, or Amazing Spider-Man? We know it's coming. Like, just give it like 4 more weeks. And Amazing Spider-Man is probably going to be off my list too. But yeah, I want to know how you're feeling about your books. But anyway, huge thanks to the channel members for making my pull list and comic budget possible. I'll see you guys in another video real soon. Until then, stay safe, stay classy, and read something dope today. Peace.